digital music, you know, I've told you how much I like records, but this is where it all happens, obviously, right? The majority of what we call music sales, and by the way, we call a stream a music sale. The majority of music sales are clearly online, they're on streaming platforms. For us as a company, Spotify is the leading platform by a country mile. YouTube is also significant. Amazon is growing. Apple is important, of course. But I guess for hospital at the moment, it's principally really sort of Spotify and YouTube are the two key areas. Obviously quite different. We've sort of prioritised our YouTube channel for quite a while. We felt a long time ago that it would be a rich source of content for our fan base. And thanks to a lot of hard work particularly from Harry and George, who really drive that video content, we've grown the channel from, you know, maybe more traditional content, you know, song videos and interviews and bits and pieces from festivals, to all manner of different kind of themes. More recently, probably based on the fact that for the last few years we've worked with a lot of vocalists on the label, such as Degs and Inja and DRS and Solar. We have a thing called Pulse Check now, which is a regular series where we bring through vocalists. They could be singers, MCs, and that's proven to be really popular. We of course do, you know, all manner of DJ mix series. There's all sorts of editorial content. The podcast goes on there, and happily, I haven't got my glasses on. I think 502,000 subscribers at the moment. Now that's a really key factor for what we do, because that means that we've got that specific subscribed audience there who, on the one hand, are expecting a fairly regular level of content. There's no point having low subscribers if you upload one video every 2 weeks, because they'll quickly just go somewhere else. So you need to keep feeding that. And then, of course, you know, Spotify, maybe one of the phenomenons about the streaming platforms is whether we like it or not, the nature of streaming is that you kind of need stuff to happen quite quickly in the track. When I started in drum and bass, most tracks had 1.5 minutes of drums, standard. It was just drums, because there was no such thing as streaming, and that 1.5 minutes on vinyl gave the DJ enough time to physically get that record in time with the record that was playing and mix it in. That's not how life is these days. So, you know, in the streaming landscape, you're putting music out. You've probably heard that there's an initial window when a listener is going to play your track, and if they skip it in that first 30 seconds, you don't get paid, right? So theoretically, you need something fairly dynamic to happen in 30 seconds. Don't have to chuck the whole song in there. Don't have to like throw it all away in that 30 seconds. But if it's just going to be hi-hats, they're going to skip, right? So you need something that's going to, whatever it could be, that's going to just grab them. And this is a constant challenge from an A&R perspective, because you sound like a mug saying to an artist, just need something to keep the streamers there. But it's a reality, because this is the battleground for artists. That's where everything kind of happens. And obviously with streaming, you know, you need to stream in the tens of thousands, the hundreds of thousands, to actually start getting paid properly, right? And that's hard. It's phenomenally hard. We're almost at breaking point, really. The general sort of consensus is at the moment is that 100,000 tracks get uploaded every day to the leading platforms. So just try and imagine how much music that is. And if, you know, we work in drum and bass, you just imagine how much drum and bass is on Spotify. It's overwhelming, and it is very, very hard to get above all that noise.
How important would you say like the name of an artist is?
It's a good question. I think the name of an artist is really, really important. That said, I have a precious artist who's called Logistics, and he's called Logistics because he saw it on the back of a lorry when he was on the motorway. That's not particularly emotive or exciting, you know, and yet 18 years later, you kind of go, yeah, Logistics, cool. so artist names, particularly, this is a one thing for me, song titles, right? I really object to really average song titles. Drum and bass is very guilty of some of the worst song titles, right? Take Me Higher. Now, I'd better check. I might have something in the hospital called Take Me Higher. I don't know. It amazes me that artists don't, for a start. You've got the internet. You can, type it in to Google, type it into Discogs, type it into SoundCloud, whatever. It's easy to check. Are there 347 other Take Me Highers in the drum and bass chart on Beatport? Probably. Whereas when I got a tune delivered to me called Crabs in a Bucket, I wanted to listen to it straight away. And I released it. And when Unglued sent me one of his demos and it was called Chicken in a Basket, you know, so I'm kind of taking the mick, but also I mean it, because there's nothing worse than being sent. And also when you're sending in tracks to labels, don't send in untitled.mp3. It might seem obvious, but trust me, people do it every week. Because if I played it and I liked it and then I download it, how am I going to find it? It's not rocket science. And similarly, if at that point you've got quite an unusual artist name, let alone a cracking song title, I'll find it straight away. So I think it really matters.